I don't see a reference photo as something to copy, I see it as something to respond to. Sometimes I follow its rhythm, sometimes I go quiet where it is loud. My goal isn't to replicate the real, it's to listen to what the image could become in my hands, to search for a version of it that feels more true to me. Hello everyone, I'm Lugugu. In today's episode, I want to talk about how I interpret an image, not just with my eyes, but with a kind of quiet intuition. I'll show you how I take a photograph, not as a set of instructions, but as a suggestion, something I can shape, soften, or even ignore, depending on what I feel the drawing needs. This time, I'm drawing a scene rather than a person. The original photo felt posed, like someone standing still, just because the camera was pointed at her. But I wanted something quieter, more candid, as if the viewer had just wandered into the moment. I didn't follow the likeness faithfully. I turned the body slightly, changed the posture, even shifted the whole composition to landscape as it felt more natural that way. I start from the hat because I'm still unsure. I'm using my trusty Willow charcoal stick here to sketch in the silhouette. Willow is forgiving, soft, erasable, so it's perfect for this early stage. You'll notice the hat sits slightly off. That's intentional. I want to break the spell of copying a photo right from the very start. The ability to copy a photograph with precision is a skill worth practicing. It teaches patience, observation, and control, all essential foundations. But over time, I've come to feel that drawing is not just about likeness. To reach something deeper, I need to interpret, to reshape, to make considered decisions. So the image carries not just information, but a sense of voice. Here, I changed the braided hair into something simpler. I drew it closer to her face, letting it fall and merge with the neck in a more abstract way. It softens the shape and removes the need to explain too much. The face isn't the same as in the photo. There's no likeness, and that's intentional. I'm not trying to draw this girl. I don't know her. She's not my girlfriend, as much as I might wish she were. What I'm really doing is creating someone else entirely. Someone imagined, someone shaped through feeling. The reference helps, but it's only a starting point. I let the features drift slightly, shift in mood and proportion. If the face becomes too specific, it closes the door. I want the expression to remain open, so it becomes a face the viewer might recognize, not from life, but from memory. Shaping the face here is difficult for me. I want it to feel balanced, so I really need the proportions to sit just right. That's why I'm still using my Willow charcoal here, keeping things soft and erasable, just in case. At this stage, it looks quite rough, ugly even. But that's alright. It's only a sketch, a scaffold. Please bear with me, this is just the beginning. Things will settle in their own time. With the face sketch done, I move on to the winter clothes. I begin with her arm, and here I've made it wider than it should be. At first glance, it might look like a mistake, but let me share a little secret, one that only the aliens know. You see, we call them aliens because they look strange to us, but from their point of view, we are the strange ones. They've never seen a human before, so to them, we're the ones who are oddly shaped and out of place. And that's the key to drawing like this. If the whole world of the image leans into its own logic, nothing looks out of place. A wide arm doesn't seem strange in a world built around soft distortions. I don't want this to live under the rules of photography. I want it to live in its own little world, one where emotion and shape can bend quietly, without needing permission. In this area here, there's no glove in the photo, but I felt like drawing one. Something abstract, suggested. It doesn't need a reason. Sometimes I follow the impulse just to see where it leads. Her right arm doesn't follow the photo. It rests differently, bending into a shape that might seem unusual for now, but I have a quiet plan, a small change that will shift the whole rhythm of the image, though I won't give it away just yet. Let's just say I'm not content with the straightness of the original. Something about it felt too clean, too expected. I want to guide her somewhere else, into a space that breathes a little differently. Yeah, I know you're impatient to know what the plan was. People nowadays. So here it is. Instead of making her lean on a flat, horizontal fence, like in the photo, I shifted everything slightly. Now she's resting on the corner of a fence. It's a small change, but it does something important. It breaks the front-facing stiffness of the pose. It lets her body turn more naturally. It somehow feels more candid to me. The whole composition becomes quieter, more thoughtful, less posed, more painterly. And to me, it feels more like a real moment, not something set up for a camera, but something we've wandered into by accident. And here, the basic sketch is done. Still rough, still soft, but the idea is already breathing on the page. Don't be afraid to stray from the photo. You're not just copying a scene, you're building your own little world. Every choice you make is a step towards something that breathes with intention, something only your hand could have made. That's where the real magic begins. In the next stage, I'll begin refining things into a more detailed drawing, so let's zoom in a little so you can see better. Now, to refine the face, I'm not zooming in on the photo. Actually, I'm zooming out, see from a distance. And I squint a lot to lose all the noise. I only want the essence, shadow, light, just the important details. I'm not interested in tiny pores or perfect accuracy. Just the feeling. Oh, sorry everyone, I forgot you are mere mortals and cannot see this small. Now remember, I'm not copying the photo. I even turned her gaze away from the camera to make her feel more candid. I've made her face slightly longer too, and if you think that looks odd, think of it this way. With 8,143,027,619 people on Earth, surely someone, somewhere, sometime, maybe deep in the Amazon forest, must look a bit like this. So it's not weird, just possible. I've also taken away the smile. She feels a little more moody here, and I quite like that. Now the tools change. I switch to charcoal pencil, darker, more precise, perfect for carving in those deeper accents. I start working into the shadows, under the brow, beside the nose, just beneath the eye. But I'm not only darkening the features themselves, I'm also building up contrast around them. That's what really makes the face emerge. So it's important for me to also darken the surrounding area of her face. Sometimes it's not the detail itself, but what surrounds it that gives it power. Then I soften it with the blending stump. That back and forth, darken, smooth, repeat, slowly adds weight and structure. It's still gentle, but now it begins to feel anchored, believable. Now that the face is done, I move on to the winter clothing. I keep things abstract, simplifying the values into just a few big shapes. I start lightly, just the blending stump at first. This workflow allows me to explore without committing too soon. It's like blocking in atmosphere before detail, soft, broad, quiet decisions. Now I start carving the fabric more deliberately, with the shadows already mapped in. I use charcoal pencil to define key folds, but not too many, just enough to suggest volume. The trick is choosing which edges to sharpen and which to let fade. That mix of soft and strong edges helps the fabric feel heavy, but still natural. I also try to follow the rhythm of the folds. They zig and gather, but they don't fall randomly. I want the sleeve to feel layered and warm, but not stiff. This stage is really about restraint. I don't want to explain every wrinkle, just enough to let the viewer's eye fill in the rest. It's still suggestion, just with a little more confidence now. Now I begin shaping the glove, or rather, the idea of one. There's no glove in the photo, but here I've placed one gently over her sleeve. It's not really about hands or fingers, it's about gesture. The pose stays similar, but I abstract the form. The crossing wrist becomes just tone and edge. The hand disappears softly into the coat, and this choice makes her feel more internal, like she's drawing inward. Less about her holding the fence, more about her holding something within herself. It makes the moment quieter, not posed, just paused, almost like she's mid-thought and we've stumbled into it. This might just be my favorite part of the whole drawing. The fence. It's funny, isn't it? Just a few straight, simple strokes, but there's something so satisfying about them. These marks are clean, almost calligraphic. They slice through the paper with confidence, no hesitation. And best of all, fences never complain about likeness. You can bend them a little, make them tilt, and no one will write in the comments that it doesn't look like the original. But even in their simplicity, these lines carry weight. They have perspective. They ground the figure, literally. They hold her in place like a stage prop in a quiet play. Just enough information to set the scene while leaving the rest to the viewer's imagination. Her right arm didn't read well, it blended into the background too much. But instead of outlining it, I darkened the space around it. That little shift brings clarity. Sometimes it's not what you draw, but what you shape around it that gives something its form. Back to the fence again. Now I'm adding the vertical post. Not straight, not perfect, but leaning slightly, like it's tired from holding things up for years. I angle it on purpose. It feels a little rickety, a bit broken, and I like that. I want this scene to feel like a glimpse of life, not a photograph. Something lived in, something with a story. If the fence was too perfect, too engineered, it would betray that feeling. So I let it wobble just enough, let it speak its own language. In a way, this wooden structure echoes her mood too. Quiet, settled, reflective. Like both girl and fence have been through the same winter together, waiting for someone. But time stopped for her when he stopped being part of this world. When the drawing is nearly done, I usually take a break and leave it overnight. It's easy to get too used to how things look, and that can dull your judgment. A little distance helps. The next day, I come back with clearer eyes, noticing things I missed. I often add small tweaks off camera, quiet adjustments that help bring the whole piece into balance. And when I return, the drawing feels different, quieter somehow, like it's settled into itself. That's when I know it's ready for the final pass. Now at the finishing stage, I focus on global adjustments, deepening shadows, unifying values, and settling the tones. And in doing so, the mood begins to shift. She's no longer posing, she's remembering. Someone she once waited for. Someone who we know deep down will never be able to return, not in this lifetime. There's no dramatic gesture, no visible sorrow, but there's a weight, to her stillness. It's not grief in the raw sense, but the soft ache of memory that lingers over time. Her eyes no longer seek ours. They've turned inward, quiet, and unreachable. The entire composition settles into silence. There's no performance anymore, only solitude, painterly melancholy. She doesn't smile, and that small choice changes everything. The photo reference begins to dissolve. Meaning is transformed. It's no longer about likeness. It becomes something else entirely. A glimpse of life that has passed. Something tender. Something gone.